That is one big pile of shit.
So I think I gotta do a little rant on Black Ops 6 because I was gonna do a review of the game, like just kind of covering all three modes and talking about how much I'm like surprisingly enjoying this game. I mean, I know it's in the honeymoon phase, whatever. I know in a few months we're all probably gonna hate this game, but as of right now, I do think that this is one of the better Call of Duty games that's come out in the past few years, like overall, not just multiplayer. Because last year I said MW23 actually does have a pretty good multiplayer in it. It does have some stupid issues with it, but overall, I think multiplayer last year was actually pretty good. You know, seeing all those old maps coming back on new graphics, even though it was lazy. I mean, I still enjoyed the nostalgia of playing on those MW2 maps, especially because I know them so well. And the new gunplay, and it felt good to play on those maps. Some of them maybe didn't play as well nowadays, but I still think that it was enjoyable for the most part, besides the, you know what. But I've ran into so many problems with this game. As much as I'm enjoying Black Ops 6 so far, I do think, again, one of the better Call of Duty games we've had, but I think the multiplayer especially has so many fucking problems that still have not been fixed, and I'm just tired of the fact that we have to wait months for them to fix things like, spawns, for example, which is something I want to talk about. And real quick, before I get into the multiplayer, before I get into the nitty gritty here, I just want to give a quick little review of the whole game. Nothing like super in depth. I just want to talk about the campaign and zombies real quick. Right off the bat, I have to say, campaign not as good as Cold War's, but still really enjoyable up until the last like two missions. I would say they kind of just drag on. It is one of the longer COD campaigns we've had, probably the longest one I've played. It took me about 6 to 7 hours to beat. So that's cool. All the missions give you a decent amount of freedom with how you want to approach things, which is cool. There's one mission in particular that's stuck out with me ever since I played it, where it gives you this giant open map with like 15 objectives that you can go out of your way to complete. You don't have to do all of them. There's like the main objective, which is like taking out some missiles, and then the rest are like outposts you can take out and packages you can retrieve that have items in it. Really fucking awesome mission. I wish more COD missions were like that they were so open and give you so much freedom. It was really fun to play. And there was a few standout missions, like, high rollers, where you're doing this casino heist and you're using disguises and shit. Like, it's all really, really cool stuff in the campaign. The characters are all likable except for the main villain, which I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played the campaign yet, but the main villain in this game is pretty fucking lame, I'm not gonna lie. She just sucks, okay? And there's this mission towards the end of the game where you play as her and you have this whole backstory about her and stuff, and it's just like so out of nowhere, and it's all completely pointless because she does something at the end of it that just kind of makes it all seem kind of like, well, what was the point of all that? But other than that, I really did enjoy this campaign. It's not as in-depth as BO2 or even Cold War, I would say, has more depth, but I think it's a good time. I would recommend playing the campaign. I'd say it's like 8 out of 10, probably. Zombies is what I've mostly been playing. I have, my nerdy ass already has almost 2 days of zombies played. I've done the Easter egg on both maps, which I don't usually do on new games, and I've gotten to decently high rounds on the game, and I've played it enough to have a decent opinion on it. I'd say the zombies in this game is like an 8.5. If BO3 zombies is like a 10, this is an 8.5. I think that's pretty decent. I'd say it's better than Cold War Zombies in a lot of ways. Like, they made a lot of improvements to it that makes it better, but they've also done some stupid things, like the amount of boss zombies is like ridiculous in this game. But despite that, I think Zombies is actually very, very good this year, and I'm really excited to see what the new maps are going to be like once they come out. Okay, it's time to talk about the multiplayer now. I need to rant about this because I've been getting... Not only have I been getting my shit stomped in, well, I don't know. Ever since they added Nuketown, I've been enjoying the multiplayer a little bit more, but I've also been seeing a lot of things that annoy me a lot more. Like, again, the spawns, for example. I need to get this off my chest. I've said my piece on this in the beta, because the spawns were terrible in the beta as well, but I have to say that I don't think the spawns have significantly improved, if at all. I think they're actually worse now because we have more maps and because we've played more of the game now. You can just see that the spawns on every map are so fucking bad. And this has been happening since, I want to say, I want to say last year is when it started, but it could have started before that. Maybe Vanguard had this problem. I didn't play that piece of shit game, so, someone let me know. But the way spawns work in Black Ops 6 is, so say you're playing domination, right? And your team's captured A. You should be spawning when you die at A, right? And the enemies, if they've captured C, they should be spawning at C. If you kill somebody in this game, they're going to spawn right behind you on A, or whatever objective you have captured, right? And it's so fucking irritating because it makes me just question how long they really did spend developing this game, because how can you not see that these spawns are like the worst thing ever? Maybe they're not as bad as, I don't know, like BO4 spawns were pretty terrible at launch. They did eventually fix that like fucking 3 months later when I was already done with the game, but I think Treyarch has always kind of had like a weird thing with spawns. They haven't always been great, and honestly, recently, overall, every COD game spawns have just been getting worse every year, and I don't really understand how or why. I want to say it's laziness or incompetence, but I don't think it's that, because, they spent 4 years working on the fucking game. I mean, what were they doing? Were they just, were they smoking doobies and butt-chugging Jägermeisters or something in the studio? Like, I don't get how you look at these spawns and you're like, yeah, this is acceptable, Let's not delay the game so we can work on these. Like, how do you not fucking see the issue here? The spawns are so bad in this game. It is so infuriating. It makes me want to burn down an orphanage. Now, on maps like Face Off, those maps are, like, supposed to be super tiny and condensed. I can maybe understand why the spawns aren't great on those maps, because I don't know how you would make a good spawn system on Stakeout, for example. But maps like, I don't know. I can't even think of any map names right now. Babylon's a pretty small map, so, spawns are kind of crazy, but still terrible on that map, especially. Like, I think you might have seen it in the video I posted recently, where me and Caleb were getting spawn trapped so fucking hard. Like, literally, as soon as we were spawning, we were getting sniped, and it kept spawning us there, And it's shit like that that really, really fucking drives me up a wall in these games. Because you spent... How long has Treyarch been developing games? Like, fucking almost 20 years now? And they still can't figure out how spawns work. It's just... Oh, God, dude. It's so fucking annoying. I can't... I don't know how much longer I can deal with it, How much longer are we gonna have to wait for the spawn update? Like 3 months? It's November now. It's been more than a week since the game's been out, and the spawns still have not been fixed, at least not to my knowledge anyway. I've only been playing Nuketown because the maps in this game are just... I don't want to say the maps are bad in this game. There's only like one terrible map I can think of, which is Red Card. That map's just way too big, and there's too many buildings in it. Like, it takes so long to find people. It's like a fucking Infinity Ward map, It's terrible. But every other map is just like painfully mid is how I would describe them. They're not bad, just super mid and like really, really forgettable. And Treyarch usually has had a decent job of developing maps where like they might not be super memorable or anything, but there's plenty to offer. The very least, you get like a decent amount of action in these maps, which is good. Not every map is like super big. There's actually, I'd say it's mostly medium-sized to like small medium-sized maps, but man, these maps are just not it, bro. Like, this game desperately needed Nuketown, and I have to say, I do commend Treyarch for updating this game pretty frequently already. That's a good sign to me. They've always been the best at supporting their games, I think. So I think that does give me a little bit of hope. And there's also this really stupid fucking glitch. I don't know if it's a glitch or not, but there's this really dumbass loading screen that happens when you join a game. It's not too bad if you're starting the match, but it still does it when you join a late game, which is really stupid, I want to say. And that's another thing. I don't get how they overlooked that, because it happens every time you join mid-game. You're kind of stuck in this loading screen where you get an overview of the map, and you can't look around. You can move, you can shoot, but you can't aim or look around, and you'll get killed, especially if you're on Nuketown. Like, you're just gonna die. You're gonna have at least 2 to 3 deaths, like, just waiting for that thing to fucking end, and it's so dumb. Please remove that from the game. Just remove it entirely. I don't care. Just, like, let us spawn in, select a loadout, and then wait for the match to start. That's how every COD has done it, and I don't get why we're trying to fix things that aren't broken, you know? That's kind of Call of Duty's modern motto is, you know, let's fix things that aren't broken. Oh, and also, this other thing that really pisses me off, I realized that before Nuketown came out, I was playing a lot of hardcore face-off mosh pit. A lot of fun, but I stopped playing it once I realized that everyone was using the Recon Specialist perk, which is completely broken on Face-Off because the maps are way smaller, they're way more condensed, and you can see pretty much everybody through the walls, which is what the Recon ability does. Just real quick, I've already overviewed the perk system on the beta. It still works the same way. There's the 3 different color types, but in each perk slot, instead of, like, for example, perk slot 1 being all blue, perk slot 2 being all red, you know, you get that. But every slot actually has all 3 of them. So if you match the color perk with every slot, you get an ability. So you get Specialist or you get Strategist, which I don't remember what that does exactly, and then you get the red one. I don't remember what that is, but point being, the Recon one, which is for blue perks, is fucking broken in hardcore mosh pit, like face-off mosh pit. I stopped playing it after that because literally everyone was fucking using it, and it's not fun to play against something like that, you know, where everyone's using the same thing constantly every match. It's just not fun because it makes me feel like I have to use it to compete, and that's the most annoying shit in the world. There's other things I could complain about, like the skill-based matchmaking, otherwise known as engagement optimized matchmaking, which I do have to stress that is a big distinction with COD nowadays. It's not skill-based matchmaking. It's engagement optimized matchmaking, which is literally, it's different from skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking, I'm sure you guys all know what it is by now. You've probably heard it a million fucking times. I don't want to make this a rant about this because everyone does it on YouTube now on Call of Duty, and then they proceed to keep buying the games and then complaining about it. Like, I've already gone on that rant. But point being, engagement optimized matchmaking is genuinely bad for the game because it basically tampers with your game based on your KD ratio, your win-loss, and all that shit. And they've been open about that. They've said that their matchmaking is different now compared to what it used to be. Well, not really. They claim that it's the same system it's always been, which is bullshit because I do not remember a time in COD 4 or Black Ops 2 where literally the game would nerf my bullets just based on how well I'm doing in the previous match. Okay. This shit is ridiculous. And it needs to, like, I don't even care about skill-based matchmaking at this point. You know what? You want to put that in the game instead of putting in a ranked playlist? Fucking, I can deal with it. Okay. There's ways to manipulate it and deal with it, or just, you know, straight up ignore it and just accept the fact that you're going to get your ass reamed after doing 60 and 35 one match. You're just gonna get fucking sexually assaulted the next few matches. Like, that's fine, okay? I can deal with that. I can cope. But tampering with my game, nerfing my damage that I do, even in hardcore, which is insane. Like, okay, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's the hit detection. Maybe it's the net code in this game that's bad. Treyarch has, like, kind of been notorious for having really bad hit detection in their games, so that could just be what it is, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but I swear to God, dude, this new system of matchmaking fucking sucks because it actively makes you feel like you are not improving at the game in any way. Because what's the point of getting better if you're just gonna decide preemptively that I'm gonna do terrible the next match, you know? Like, there's no... It's better if you're playing in a party, I'll say that. I would recommend doing that. If you have a full party, play with them, and it will kind of feel more like the old days of COD, where you get different types of matches, like every match, where sometimes you'll get noobs, sometimes you'll get esports wannabes, sometimes you'll get a mix of both, which is what I prefer. I prefer a mix of both, so it's not, it's not all the same. And that's what pisses me off about their blog post they posted recently, when they actually like addressed it. They said that they don't want every match to feel the same. But ironically, in doing that, with this new system, they're making every match feel the same. Everyone's using the same fucking weapons. Everyone's using the same recon specialist perk. Everyone is using the same shit. Every match feels the same. And it's so fucking frustrating when you really think about it. I'm just glad that I didn't pay for this game. I got it on Game Pass, which I guess you could say that's paying for it, but not really. I mean, it's a good deal, like getting to check this game out without having to pay $70 for it. And that's why I can't recommend this game, like buying it anyway. If you have Game Pass, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and try this game out, see if you like it. If you don't, just drop it, whatever. But I would not recommend paying $70 for this game, or any COD that comes out after this, especially. Just don't do it. Just go buy something else. Go buy fucking Space Marine 2. That game is badass and awesome. Sure, it's got a really short campaign and it doesn't have like a ton of content, but still, you do still get your money's worth out of what content is in that campaign alone. And I would just recommend playing that over this. I would recommend buying Helldivers 2 over this game. I'd recommend buying, like, there's so many better games out than Call of Duty, to be spending your money on. This is a fun game, and I like I said, I am really enjoying this game despite these issues. I'd say overall this game is like, if I was putting it in the COD tier list I made, I'd say it's maybe like middle to low B tier. I'd say like it's actually pretty fun. Definitely the best COD I've played in quite a while. Like overall, I even like it more than Cold War, which is, well, I don't know about that actually, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And when the honeymoon phase is over, maybe that opinion will change, but we'll see. We're still only more than a week after the game's launch, so they've got plenty of time to fix these problems, and that's what I am excited about with this game, is that all of the issues I have with this game can be fixed, and that gives me a bit of hope. But it's just a matter of when they fix it, which, knowing Call of Duty, it's probably going to take fucking months before they add in something simple like, stupid ass loading screen where you can't move or fucking shoot or anything. Like, it's annoying. But, despite all that, it's a fun game. I'm enjoying playing it. I'm already almost like 4th prestige or something. I was grinding the shit out of double XP weekend. I'm a nerd. You can make fun of me. It's fine. But yeah, I just had to vent about this game because I want to make more videos on it, but I don't really know what to post. So I'm just going to put this out here. Maybe I'll do a full review soon. I did record it, but I just decided playing the game again for some more footage, I realized that there's some things I need to talk about. And yeah, so I had to get that off my chest, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more shit like this, let me know, and look forward to some more videos pretty soon. So yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Peace.